Welcome to the Rebel Love Show. We are a once-a-week broadcast from Manchester, New Hampshire, where we are pro-pot, pro-gun, and pro-coffee. You can find all of our content at rebelloveshow.com. I am Rob Mathias.
And I'm Shire Dude.
And Pork Fest is literally in like 5 days, people. It's coming up fast. And tonight we have two experts on Alt Expo, which is always featured lately at Pork Fest. We got Jack Shimmick, my apologies, and Daniel Cuevas.
Got promoted to being experts.
Yeah, you guys are experts. So, Alt Expo. Word on the street is polyamory's taking over Alt Expo. Is this true?
Take it over.
Polyamory. Polyamory has always had a home.
I know. We're talking right before the beginning that there's how many years has polyamory been discussed at Alt Expo at Pork Fest?
At least since 2010, and every single year after that. Matter of fact, Alt Expo was discussing polyamory before the FSP even. Is the general Pork Fest event? Do they even have anyone speaking about polyamory?
I don't know. I don't think there is officially on the books for FSP official events, but I mean half the events on there are Alt Expo, it seems, as it is.
So they're still behind the times.
I don't exactly. Well, I mean, honestly, like I when I say Pork Fest, I'm including like all the Expo talks out there because it's on Pork Fest's website as it is.
Correct.
So I consider Alt Expo to be organizers as well for Pork Fest. So in my opinion, there's a bunch of well, actually, I take it back. There are I know of at least two official poly events taking place on the Pork Fest schedule, the FSP schedule, because the Rebel Love Show is recording twice at Pork Fest, and we are a polyamory show, so there's at least two poly things officially sponsored by the FSP, I guess you can say, because we're on the schedule.
Yeah, it probably used to be called free love. Now it's polyamory, huh?
Yeah.
Whatever word you want to use.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't. Shire Dude, he doesn't believe in labels.
Yeah, I don't do ideological labels.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can't do labels.
Am I being censored?
So Shire Dude, you don't subscribe to labels.
Ideological labels, yeah.
Okay, so you label yourself as non-label.
Yeah, that is the conundrum there.
Peel off the labels.
So how do you describe that to people? My big thing is people just use labels to describe themselves instead of actually describing themselves, and everyone's got a different connotation for different words. So I go beyond that. I actually describe what I actually believe or what I actually subscribe to.
Cool.
Yeah,
he's been sticking to to that too since he got here.
I've been sticking to that since before. Yeah, well before I got to the New Hampshire.
Yeah, you always stay with that no labels shit. I go with it a little bit, man. A label describes who you are. It gives words have meaning, and words allow you to describe what you're doing or who you are to another person.
As I like to say, ideological labels are great for sales and really terrible for conversations.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They're limiting too. They predefine something, and so if you were actually to describe all the things I believe in, you'd have to have like 46 different labels strung together.
Right.
So Alt Expo, you guys are here to talk about Alt Expo. How did Alt Expo originate? That's actually my big question first. How did Alt Expo really, or the origin story of it?
The history is kind of interesting. Since the Free State Project began, there have been, I just mentioned this a little earlier, there have been a few different rebellions, or what I call it is the struggle for the soul of the FSP. And that is, like, what does it really represent? So there were rebellions against the wording in the statement of intent, and there was a big battle over that. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't really paying attention to it at the time, but so they changed it to be inclusive of people that were not interested in the political process. So then there was a big revolt against the Free State Project forum, because this is before Facebook. You're talking about the early 2000s.
I just want to say I'm a Free Stater that's post forums. I never even seen the forums.
Yeah. You should check it out. There's all kinds of drama going on there too.
I'm sure there was.
And then so there was a what do you call it, a faction, a rebel faction. So they formed the New Hampshire Underground, which was nhfree.com. So that was another forum. And then later on, there was a break from that forum. So there's all this schism stuff. Then in 2007, the Liberty Forum was a concept. PorcFest was just a summer event. And then there wasn't any organized FSP event until the next PorcFest. So somebody says, oh, yeah, let's have a winter event. So I volunteered to be one of the organizers for that. And when I got to the organizers meeting, they all wanted to talk about all these different topics that had to do with holding signs for candidates, circulating petitions for candidates, getting elected. And I'm going like, well, what about the alternatives? And they said, oh, you mean like alternative energy? And I said, no, alternatives to everything. And so they actually gave me a 1 hour time slot. And then they said, okay, break it down into, 4 different speakers with 15 minutes each, And I says, okay. So I get these 4 speakers lined up. And I think it was like 3 weeks before the Liberty Forum was going to happen. And the organizer said, she made up a lame excuse first. But it turns out, didn't like my speakers, and she canceled my time segment.
Wow.
And I went, whoa. So there was a couple other guys with me at the time at the Merrimack Valley Porcupines meeting that heard this, and they said, that's not right. So we ran up to the hotel, which was then the Holiday Inn in Concord, to see if we could get rooms. But the FSP had gotten all the meeting rooms on the first floor. So we went up and got 2 hotel rooms on the second floor, right at the top of the stairs. So we figured we'd put signs at the bottom of the stairs. You'd go up the stairs and come to the Alt Expo hospitality room. And by the way, I think it was like the same night after I came home from the MVP meeting and then looking at the hotel, we had to cook up a name for this event. So I can't actually remember who thought up Alt Expo. I think it was me, but and I had a friend that was big into web hosting then, so he said, oh yeah, we can get altexpo.org. Let's go with it. So that's how it started. That was in probably January of 2007.
Wow.
Oh man,
that's
so long ago.
Yeah,
I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. Like, that's crazy.
So what we did was, we had 3 weeks now to slam together an event, and so, what I brought to the table was, I've been in New Hampshire for like 25 years or whatever, and I'd been exploring all these alternatives, and probably people know by now that the state is small enough that after a while you can actually sort of get to meet everybody that's the leader of whatever here, because it's a small state. So I had been doing that. So I says, I can bring all these people in, to tell, the purpose of the Liberty Forum was to get people to come to New Hampshire in the winter, see what it was like, see that it wasn't, like the North Pole. And I says, okay, well, when we have them come here, let's show them and let them hear some of the other people that are already here, what they're doing for activism or whatever. So we slammed together, I think, like eight topics per day over a 2-day period of time in the hotel room, and which usually, I don't know, you could only fit like 15 or 20 people in there, and you'd be busting down the doors with 20 people. But it was cool, and we had a mascot, we had our own T-shirts and everything. So
what was the mascot?
Well, you get the porcupines for the Free State Project. So we had, I commissioned this artist to do a porcupine pirate. So you get this porcupine that had a peg leg and a cutlass and a bandana around his head.
The Porcupine, I love it.
Yeah, that's where it all began.
Wow. So, Cuevas, when did you start getting involved in Alt Expo, and how did that happen?
It was in 2010. I attended most of the talks, and it was my first PorcFest.
All right. Well, we're coming back. When we get back with Dan, we'll talk about more of his origin with Alt Expo.
So you've signed the Shire Society.
I remember you said
The Shire Society.
I don't think I can afford it.
All right. What's going on with the camera, dude?
It didn't come up, and
Can
I
you-
have
can you-
virtual camera out set to it, and you know what I think it is? The gain on that
I remember I met
That's
you
what's the
at
problem.
Murphy's.
Can you
Yeah.
set those all to like
Second week I
the
was
middle level?
after I had moved.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm talking
And you were
about?
posting on the
I think that's what it
forums
is. It's
back
the
then,
gain
so
on that
yeah,
is
you
way
were-
too high or
This
something.
is the game, dude. This is just the volume levels.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
even
but it's in
remember
my headset,
my
so I'm
What was
hearing
your
us all
phone
crazy.
handle?
Like, yeah, check. That's me. That's me right there. That last one.
I've been on the
Put everyone in the
forums
middle.
So long.
How's
Okay.
that sound? Okay.
Let me turn this up. And oh yeah, that
that
sounds
better?
much better to me.
Okay.
See, I was freaking out because I thought we all sounded crunchy, but it was just that. So we're better now. It's just the thing that's turning up the volume.
Hey,
in my
are we going to
headset.
talk about Cuevas coin?
Actually, I got paid for my haircut.
With Cuevas coin.
Wow.
I want you to talk about Cuevas
Can we?
coin.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go into specifics.
You can if you want. I'm not
You can
gonna
go
stop
get
ya.
as specific as possible, but yeah.
Local.
It's a hyper
What do you call
local.
it? Hyper
It's a
local.
Facebook page. People deserve to know something.
Yeah, you have. It is public. You have a Facebook page for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to start Jack Coin. I want free hair. No, I don't want to cut my hair. So never mind.
How much Cuevas coin does your haircut cost?
You know Ashley Hinton?
Yes, I do.
So I asked her how much for a haircut. I was
Uh-huh.
prepared to like pay her in Bitcoin or FRNs, and she insisted on being paid in Cuevas coin.
Wow.
So I was so happy. I was so surprised. I just said,
How much-
okay, I'll give you 20 Cuevas coin.
How much Cuevas coin are you sitting on right now?
Right now, there's about 224 in circulation. 224 Cuevas coin.
224 Cuevas coin.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have to produce that many hamburgers though to get?
Um.
Oh no, they don't have to redeem it with you, right?
Well,
Well, you have
what
to
I-
go into details. I know you may not want to talk about the details.
Well, basically, I can
right.
I can put it as a Agorist line of credit to be paid off in the future
Yeah.
to replace white market lines of credit, and I can say that there are multiple Agorist vendors who accept the currency.
Yeah, turn it back. It just popped up just now.
right? When I clicked it.
That's a good cover. Right?
I don't know why that did it.
Why
but
did that
fixed it.
work?
So the people listening on YouTube,
Computers are magic.
all I did is literally just
Turn off the camera and Google Hangout and turn it back on.
on.
Did you turn it
the
off
live
and turn it
stream
back
went
on?
Right back on.
Because we didn't have any video going out to YouTube for that first segment. But I do have it recorded also.
Yeah, so we're gonna upload it anyways. But for people that are watching on YouTube now, they can see.
For the live viewers,
Yeah.
I just
Our apologies.
I can't
to
even.
Learning
I
Hospital.
can't
Remember,
even
if you start a live stream and it doesn't work, hit the camera button.
turn it off and
twice.
turn it back on.
It'll magically reappear.
Are we on the YouTube stream now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have been the whole time. So even when we're on LRN, we're on YouTube. Yeah. Next are live. Just remember that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat room right now. The guests are organizers of Alt Expo. So you can ask them anything you want to know about Alt Expo in the chat room, and I'll answer your questions. Or I'll get them to answer them.
Cool.
I also do want to talk about the activism you guys did with Jeb Bush. What happened there?
One of the chat room guys wants to know, what's your view on Bernie Sanders? Wow.
He's my number 2 pick.
Really?
You have a
Rand
pick?
Paul is the top. Bernie Sanders will be second.
Really?
And why would you pick Bernie Sanders?
Socially liberal.
Oh, okay.
All right, we are back, and Daniel, I kind of want to jump across from your Alt Expo origins, and I want to talk about Cuevas coin. We were talking about it during the break.
Yeah.
And you're always super positive and about Cuevas. It's your coin. You have a
Right.
Facebook page. Where can people go find Cuevas coin on Facebook?
I think it's facebook.com/Cuevas coin.
Okay. So what for the listeners at home, what is Cuevas coin?
Cuevas coin is my attempt to replace my white market line of credit with a gray or a black market line of credit, and it just
This is like a
Yeah.
hyper local currency, isn't it? It's
Yes.
something that it's unique because you convert to like, what is it, 1-to-1 to FRNs or something like that.
Right, 1-to-1 parity with the Federal Reserve note.
I think you could be called a social capitalist.
Yeah. And basically, it's the integrity of Cuevas coin is based on people's faith that I will pay back. I will buy back the Cuevas coin.
And you have other vendors that'll accept it too, right? So it actually kind of circulates.
Yes, there are actually 2 vendors who accept Cuevas coin.
What are you going to do against people counterfeiting Cuevas coin?
Is it possible to counterfeit Cuevas coin? I mean, I know it's impossible to counterfeit bitcoins, but yeah, can you counterfeit a Cuevas coin?
You can't really counterfeit something that's not physical.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you have your own blockchain, right?
Yes, the Cuevas chain.
Cuevas
Cuevas
chain.
Is it just a ledger that's written on like a chalkboard and like behind the scenes somewhere, or is that an actual legit like digital?
Well, myself and another person keep track of the transactions. The other guy puts it on pen and paper,
okay.
and I use a spreadsheet.
And I got a question from the chat room here.
Mhm.
Someone's asking, isn't this printing money without a license?
Well, there's no printing.
Well, there
No
were-
printing involved.
It's just a credit.
Yeah, it's a digital thing. So
It's not really
or
digital. It's
I
just
mean,
it's a credit.
it's a
right?
non-physical thing.
I'm like the Federal Reserve. I create digits out of thin air.
So, so if I wanted a Cuevas coin, could I buy a Cuevas coin on the air?
Yes, I can offer 25 Cuevas coin for 20 FRNs.
But how do I know I have that much Cuevas coin? Do I get like a piece of paper, or do I get like something? Do I get an email? Like, how do I know I have that many Cuevas coin?
I enter it into my ledger,
Okay.
and well, you know that you have Cuevas coin because you just bought it.
What are like in 6 months from now? I'll go back and I'm like, oh, I think I have some Cuevas coin. Like, I don't have any way of like really knowing how much Cuevas coin I really have. Or is there? Do I have access to the ledger
You
to
should
see how
forget.
much?
You should have your
is it
own
like a-
Cuevas coin ledger.
Yeah. Do
I think
get-
that's the solution, right?
okay. So
Well, that's a damn good idea.
It-
Nobody's ever people just the holders of Cuevas coin usually just
Yeah.
ask me.
how many people use Cuevas coin? Like, how many people out there have holdings in Cuevas?
Currently, there are 11 people holding a total of 224 Cuevas coin.
Wow.
And I do. I think my account is zeroed, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Does that make 12? That's hyper local, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like-
now I saw on the Facebook page that Cuevas coin would not be accepted at PorkFest. Is this true?
It's just, I'm going to be organizing. I'm going to be vending.
So you're not going to be
Yeah.
honoring your
Gonna be
own currency
speaking.
at a festival. I understand. It's
Yeah,
it's
so-
only in Manchester then,
Ju-
right?
You know,
It's hyper local
Well,
for a
yeah, it's
reason.
hyper-local for
That's
Manchester.
outside the local area.
and
Yeah.
it's just, PorkFest is just such a clusterfuck. It's just,
Oh, I can imagine.
I'm afraid of screwing up the accounting.
I got you.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
And, you know,
Yeah, Daniel does another thing for Alt Expo. He's the evil landlord of the Expo Village.
Ooh.
How's that working out?
Yeah. What's the
Um,
plan with that?
well, basically, Old Expo has the Expo Village, which is 4 RV sites. And for $15, for a suggested donation of $15 a night, people can set up their tents, set up camp there.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
We're the haven for the procrastinators who forgot to get a site and just show up.
Do you make a profit off the 15?
Oh, hells yeah.
Well, actually, it's not a profit. We actually have all kinds of expenses, and
Yeah.
it goes into helping
Well,
make
yeah,
the Alt
as long as
Expo
it
possible.
funds Alt Expo. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying.
what happens is next door to it, we have the Expo Lounge, and so we rent a big tent there that costs, I don't know, like, I forget how much. We had to rent it for 2 weeks, so it's like something like $700 or $800. So
What can people expect at the Alt Expo Lounge?
the Expo Lounge.
'Cause it did rock during Liberty Forum.
There'll be
Alt Expo area.
food. There'll be bulletproof coffee.
There'll be a poly mixer.
That's the
We
word.
gotta
of the
talk
week.
about that.
Yeah, please do.
We gotta talk about that.
I'm one of the hosts of the Polymixer,
Yeah.
and so usually now I've heard that there was actually somewhat of a Polymixer before, like years ago. Somebody told me this, and I'm not sure. It was
I'm not sure.
like 2011 or something. It was a long time ago.
At Old Expo?
Yeah, at either Alt Expo or some event. I don't know.
We usually have a panel, but I don't think we had a poly party.
Yeah, because usually there's a panel, and then the idea behind the mixer is, people are done learning about Poly 101. They want to actually interact with other polyamorous people, so you get them together.
This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
From the fact that I organized the first few events and I had like everything. It's actually there's other people helping now. There's other people booking different events. So there's actually events that happen at Alt Expo that I don't know about sometimes.
Wow.
That's crazy. But I'm excited about the whole poly party mixer because
The first time I heard about polyamory was from Alt Expo person Kevin Innes at another event.
In San Diego.
Yeah,
right?
in San Diego in 2013. That's the first
Nice.
time I ever heard about polyamory. It was the polyamory panel that they had there.
Well, one thing I like about this this mixer is because with the panels, it's some people they're nervous, they don't want to stand up in a crowd of people and ask a question or
Yeah.
something along those lines. At least this way, they can talk to other people who have been living that lifestyle.
It's more
Yeah,
one-on-one.
it's one-on-one. They can get they can ask questions in a personal environment
or
without-
2-on-2 because hey, it's
Or 2-on-2.
polyamory.
yeah, or 3-on-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
However you do poly.
As long as it's consensual.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we were talking about this before the show, how Alt Expo has introduced all these new topics into the PorkFest events that just would not have been there without Alt Expo coming to be.
Yeah,
like polyamory.
like I said, the original ones. Well, there was usually two kinds of things. There would be about moving to New Hampshire, like what town to go to and all that. So info for new movers. And there was a lot of stuff about getting elected. And there's usually always a gun topic, and there was always a whatever was the current alternative money, like Liberty Dollar, things like that in the earlier
Well,
days.
thankfully, there's more talk besides politics. I know you guys. I'm with you. I'm done talking about politics.
I was done a couple of decades ago.
Yeah.
On Free
That was
Talk
cool. I didn't
Live,
have to mute the mic. That did it perfectly.
That was a great.
superstars.
The bumpers are 30 seconds exactly.
Yeah.
So
We have a lot of
like,
time.
We have time to talk into them.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let me
okay.
turn down the feed. But yeah, we can talk into them just to a certain point. We have as soon as a bumper hits, you got 30 seconds to finish your thought, and get to that point. And I always try to do it so that we get into it and it has a good ending or something goes on or whatnot instead of like a half sentence or something like that. Then we get cut off.
I could give, I don't know if we have time, but I could give a little more about the being done with it a couple of decades ago, because I actually voted one time in the Libertarian Party. The only time I voted was the first year that the Libertarian Party had a candidate, which was 1972. So I hate to tell you that. But
Wow.
and then a couple of years later, I met the guy that's the author of this, and he, I actually saw him have a debate with the chairman of the New York Libertarian Party, and it really kind of like made me rethink everything. So if I could put in a plug somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, hold the book up again real fast.
Oh, I
That
didn't
is,
want to
by the
cover
way, the
his
New
name.
Libertarian Manifesto by Samuel Edward Konkin III.
Yep.
Cool.
For the podcast listeners that are jogging right now with
New
my voice
Libertarian-
going into their ear.
And you can just Google search it online, or start page search it, or it's published by Kopubco, Kopub Co. It's a guy named Vic Coleman Publishing Company, and it's the most important and the least read book in the libertarian movement.
It's short. First of
Yeah.
all, like it's nice and thin, which is very rare. It's not like a human action, It's,
Yeah, and the whole book isn't the New Libertarian Manifesto. The second half of it is critiques of it. So this is actually the book right here.
I want to say I bought like a combination book at one point that had that in it. It was like that and other stories as well, other
really?
other books in it. Yeah, I
haven't
want to
seen
say
that.
I want to say I had that at one point. I'll have to look for that.
A couple of notes. Oh well.
But that was on my list, my big old list of Liberty books when I was getting into it back in like 2011, 2012.
Imagine someone in your
I'm
community
giving a
getting in
talk
their
that's
car,
related
on the
to
radio,
this.
and hearing the Liberty Radio
Um,
Network.
Because this guy liked to invent his own terms. So he invented some terms like minarchism,
Oh, wow.
agorism.
That was coined in that book?
Yeah,
Actually, I've never read
it was coined by him
I'll have to read it.
a few years earlier, 4 or 5 years earlier. Or it depends. Minarchism, partyarchy. That's an anarchist who believes in working through the party.
Hi, I'm Daryl W. Perry, and I need your help.
Party arc.
I need a show clock. Every time there's that break, I think, oh my God, we're going back on. I've been too lazy. Every episode for like the last 6 episodes, I talk about how I need a show clock. And I plan to do that and like lay it on my laptop here so I know all the breaks. I always forget to do it because I'm a slacktivist. If someone could like make one and just ship it to me to print out so I can just put it down on the bottom of my computer, that'd be great. Or if you see me at PorkFest, make it and just hand it to me at PorkFest, that'd be even cooler. Because I'm too lazy to do it. I don't have the time to do it. And I always forget when the times are.
We got 1 second. Get another book out of the bag.
Fun fact: picking up Rob's slacktivism counts as liberty activism.
It does.
So make that thing that he
You know,
was
I
talking
can't
about.
change the world by myself, kids. I need help. You know, that's where the show clock comes in.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
So, Jack, you guys were talking about how yesterday or earlier today, something like that. You guys did some activism, crashing a Jeb Bush event in Derry.
Yeah, he actually announced his candidacy for president yesterday, and we thought he was going to announce it here in Derry, but he had a town hall style meeting, and it was actually combined with a Sean Hannity show, and
That's how he's fair and balanced.
yeah, exactly. I didn't even know about the Sean Hannity show, but there was an action outside. What did you guys call the thing outside?
Oh, not another Bush.
Not another Bush. Yeah, yeah. And then a couple of us went inside and surreptitiously carried in a sign and then held it up at a appropriate time and caught that on video. So that'll go up on YouTube later tonight. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
You know, I feel like we should do some sort of, I know,
Ambush
We
activism.
need to do some ambush activism.
Yes.
I mean, the problem is
Tomorrow.
I'm just late tomorrow.
What are you doing tomorrow?
I'm going to work tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'm
I was
off
off today. I was off today covering your trial, which we haven't even talked about yet.
We haven't. We'll get to that next segment or
next
something.
segment or next hour. We'll talk about your trial. 'Cause I have a story to tell just about my
It
bed.
was so much fun, like the
Yeah.
whole day.
But anyways,
Tomorrow, Vermin Supreme posted up an event. He's going to be,
Andy for
he's going to be trolling Donald Trump tomorrow, who's announced his candidacy for president. I can hardly say that, candidacy for president. And it should be a barrel of laughs. It's going to be right here in Manchester.
Has Vermin Supreme announced his candidacy yet?
Vermin Supreme is perpetually a candidate.
Yeah, has he
Oh,
ever
okay.
announced he's not a candidate?
Yeah. That's good.
So no, I am not going to be. Are you going to go to it?
I would like to. I was thinking maybe I should
Live stream it.
do some work, but yeah, no, it's almost too good to pass up.
Where
And I
is
heard-
he going to be, Donald Trump?
Oh, I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up during the break.
Is it the Trump something or the Trump that or this?
maybe.
Or whatever?
Manchester Community College.
Oh,
That's right. It's Manchester Community College, which is just a little bit north from here. And yeah, I definitely want to go to that. I also heard, and I don't know if this conflicts with schedule, I also heard there's going to be a politician or some sort of special guest, which usually means a presidential candidate at Dancing Lion.
Yeah.
Dancing Lion Chocolate.
Wow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, which is funny because I really like Dancing Lion Chocolate because
And
they
take
accept Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a Bitcoin accepting like exotic chocolate shop that's
Yeah.
in Manch. It's pretty cool.
You can ask the candidate if he is going to pay for his.
If he's going to pay for his chocolate with Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
nice
good idea.
Yeah, that's a nice kind of like easy question for them. I don't know.
And if he says, "What is Bitcoin?" then
Boom.
thumbs
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Well, at least that's an opportunity to educate a presidential candidate on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But we're kind of talking.
Real fast, doesn't Rand accept Bitcoin donations already? I think I heard that.
I don't know. I don't care. I hate Rand
I know I
Paul.
don't care
can't
about him
stand that
either.
guy.
But then I could
oh.
troll him and be like, Rand Paul accepts Bitcoin campaign donations. Why don't you?
Exactly.
That'd be a good troll question.
Is that like the same? That's like the same. That's the exact same way we go about getting other businesses to accept
Exactly.
Bitcoin. Like other ones, like Murphy's and Jansen
Shane.
Ryan take Bitcoin. Why
Yeah.
don't you take
Yeah.
Bitcoin?
Vertical Dreams and
Pizza 911.
yeah, the Barber's Tool Shed. All these places in New Hampshire.
By the way, I love the Barber's Tool Shed. That's
Yeah.
such a great barbershop in Merrimack. They give you free beer and they accept Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool little place down Merrimack.
If only I ever cut my hair.
Well, I cut mine really short, so like I have like a kind of a really short hair thing. I got my hair's bald and it's receding hairline, so I might just keep it short for a while.
Yeah. Are you thinking about the nuclear option?
I'm almost there at this point. My real mistress is pushing me.
You're gonna go full Brian Sovereign?
Full Brian Sovereign. Oh, I don't know if I can. I probably could pull it off.
My plan is when my hairline goes behind my ear,
Okay,
shave it all off because
you've already lost the war at that point. Because do the nuclear option before you get there. Why suffer years and years of like that far down? Just get it
it's
over
not
with.
gonna happen in years and years. It's probably gonna happen in the next few months, and because so it works out because bald plus goatee equals badass.
That's true.
Well,
That's
then
true.
what is this beard going on? I got this whole huge beard. This is, by the way, the longest I've ever had a beard. I'm still like learning the ins and outs.
Mountain man.
Here's another thing with New Hampshire. People in New Hampshire love beards. They can't get enough of beards in New Hampshire. I look so much like a local with this beard.
Yeah.
Like I blend in. Definitely helps in my job. I'm a salesperson, so it definitely helps in my profession to have a beard because the longer this beard grows, the better I sell. It's like my playoff beard or
makes you
something
fit
like
in,
that. Yeah. Oh, it does. Absolutely. You have to learn the tricks of the trade. You got to know what sells and what doesn't. And my beard definitely sells.
So it's like camouflage.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, I mean,
You just blend in.
I blend in with regular hockey folk that are in New Hampshire. Everyone loves hockey. I don't, but all of them have beards and they all buy from me. So I don't know.
Are you guys blending in? Are you originally from New Hampshire, either of you?
No, I actually came from Texas. Like
Oh.
people ask me, like, when did you move here? And I says, October of 1977. So
That's great.
been here a while though. Almost qualify as a local. Well, I think
If you've been here
actually in
25 years, I consider you
Yeah, that
local
counts.
at that point.
I think you have to be here a few generations. Your family has to be here, and your
See,
grandparents.
That's one thing that bothers. I mean, over 40% of New Hampshire residents or some crazy
Over 50% of New
it's
Hampshire.
like they're not
Yeah.
born in New Hampshire.
Right.
Mhm.
A lot of people leave New Hampshire. A lot of locals that are born here leave, but a lot of people move here. So there's a huge influx of different people coming in to repopulate the state.
It's true. I don't really know many locals. I know one, down in Nashua. I think one. No, I know a couple, 2 or 3.
Okay. Well, do you ever try to reach out to locals or blend more in with like going to local scenes besides outside the Porcupine community?
Well, even before the Free State Project, yeah, I was really involved in Nashua and Nashua politics. In fact, I can throw this in. Some of the things we were doing before were really interesting. I was with the Nashua Taxpayers Association at one point, and what happens was the city taxes were just going through the roof, and the aldermen kept voting to spend more and more on everything. So the Nashua Taxpayers Association wanted to come up with a way to limit the amount that they could increase it. And there was actually a preceding group to the NTA that took a case all the way to the Supreme Court to see about limiting the taxes. And the Supreme Court said, no, sorry, you can't limit the taxes because that's actually set by the state Department of Revenue Administration. But you could, if you wanted to, try to figure out how to limit the spending. So this was like a technical legal point. So at first they felt all defeated because they lost their Supreme Court case. But then one guy read it over more carefully and he says, oh yeah, we could limit the spending. So anyway, they had a huge petition campaign to change the city charter, and they got a charter amendment in that says that put in a spending cap that limited the increase in spending to the Consumer Products Index urban and with a couple of exceptions. But anyway, what happened there was I came along the scene about then, and there was a particular mayor and board of aldermen that finagled and figured out a way to get around that charter amendment. And so we immediately that night started a recall campaign to throw him out of office. And this was even before I think Gray Davis in California got removed by recall. So we innovated in Nashua, and we formed a group called the Nashua Civic Forum, did a big recall campaign, turned into a big legal fight too, but we threw out the mayor of the second largest city in the state.
Wow.
It was about 97, I think. Free State Project came along in 2003. Well, it started before that, but the vote on New Hampshire was 2003.
Well, like one thing I was saying during the break, for me, I'm a post forums Free Stater. All right. I never even seen the forums. I've never been on it. All right. Like people talk about like all these OG Free Staters, they talk about these forum days and that's not even the realm of my history, of my knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I came here. I've only been here for a year and a half. I've been following it for like 3 years before then, but it's all post forums.
Well, yeah. And this Nashua campaign was before I got on the forums. And actually the internet had only been around for like 3 years as far as like widespread use. Early days.
All right, more OG Free Stater stuff when we come back.
Cato University is the
Now
Cato
you just send,
Institute's premier
Now you just
educational
send
event.
a Facebook events instead of flyers.
Yeah.
I was
You guys don't know how easy you got it. You young punks.
I mean, look at us now. We're in a a living room of an apartment that has turned into a radio studio
Yeah.
/ broadcast studio. If this was 20 years ago, I would you need tens of thousands, if not $1 million, to have a studio with a satellite uplink and to a cable network and all that jazz. Now we have mics, $100 mixer, and some cameras. And I can throw this up on iTunes as audio, and we're on iTunes and Stitcher. Go subscribe to us, or put it up on YouTube, which we do right now, and it's live streaming, by the way, if you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, and back in the old days, I'll just finish the Nashua thing. I had a little laser printer I called the propaganda machine, and I'd have to print something out. And luckily in Nashua, they had a all-night Kinko's. And so I'd go in at like 2 a.m. and I'd print all my flyers and everything and try to label them and, drop them in the mailbox before dawn. That was the hard way.
I was telling Ashley Henton how her house, the house she currently lives in, was the predecessor to the Quill. And it was called the Manch Vegas Zoo. Tell her about the parties that were going on there. And she said, that's why we keep you guys around.
To tell the stories,
to preserve our rich cultural heritage.
Wow.
I'm like, wow.
That's true, though. That's true, because so many times some OG Free Stater will tell me a story, and it's something I don't ever have any memory of.
When I moved here, there were only 800 Free Staters in the state, and only 50 in Manchester.
I moved over like 1,300.
Yeah.
I'm like 830 something.
I'm numero zero. We used to call somebody like me was a pre-stater before the Free State.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although I did sign the statement of intent. I have a participant number and all that. I just didn't have to move.
The original gangster of the Liberty Movement. He gave the mayor his walking papers.
That's right. Yeah, they used to call me the Mayor Slayer.
So you're a modern day Jamie Lannister.
I don't know who that is. But actually, the funny part of that is they would say, you should be the mayor. And I said, no, you don't get it. I only remove people from power.
Jamie Lannister is a character in Game of Thrones. Spoiler twist, before the show starts, he killed the Crazy King. Stabbed him in the back. He's the Kingslayer.
I mean, they kind of introduced that right away, so it's not
I
that
guess
much
it's
of a
not
spoiler.
Whatever.
Yeah.
If you can't listen to the Liberty Radio Network,
Oh, it tricked me too that time.
I know.
I switched cameras and everything.
10:46.
We need a show clock.
I'll get on it.
Oh my gosh! Hey guys, if you're watching this and frustrated, Donate to the Rebel Love Show, rebelloveshow.com.
We do accept
We'll buy a
Bitcoin.
show clock. I swear. I
We don't
swear.
need to buy a show clock. We just need the times down. I just need times listed. That's all I need.
Is show clock going to be in Shire years?
It'd be hard to keep up if it wasn't Shire years.
If it's in Shire hours or Shire time, whatever Russell used to call it, it was like 42 and a half minutes off of Eastern Standard Time.
Does it go faster by 42 minutes? So it's a 42 minutes slower. So it's a Shire hour, just 18 minutes?
No, it just had some random difference. I don't know. Russell was real glib about everything, and I used to tell him his motto was "glib free or die." This is like a previous generation. This was before Ian came to Keene.
All right, welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. And I figured now we should take the time to talk about the trial that happened earlier today.
Oh yeah, there was a trial. You were on trial against the states. That was first off that whole scenario, just being in the courtroom for we were there for over 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because the judge decided to be really late.
2 hours late to
The
his job.
prosecutor didn't even show up.
Yeah, the prosecutor who was assigned to my case called out sick, and then they tried to get a continuance out of me right when I got there. They tried to say, hey, we're going to postpone your trial. And of course, I'm sitting there with how many people would you say?
Oh, we had like at least 10 or more
10
people.
about 10
You
people.
had half the courtroom
Yeah, I'm sitting
for a parking ticket trial. You had
Yeah.
half the courtroom
yeah, with the
filled. Yeah,
half a courtroom full of free staters, and
not all of them are free staters.
not all of them.
They're
but,
porcupines, but they weren't
porcupines.
free staters.
and
Big difference.
and there were 3 members of freeking.com there to film the trial.
Now here's the thing. All right, we had this Ceslin here design this, and then you printed this just the other night. This is my freaking press badge. Okay, and if you went on Shire Dude's live stream, I kind of well, maybe it wasn't caught. I don't know, but we got harassed by security, and they're like, we need some press credentials for everyone who has a camera. And it was like 10, 15 minutes of this. And literally, I have this on my belt. So I'm just like, boom. Like, there's my press credentials right there. It's like, okay, cool. You're freaking. You're good to go. It's my magic. This is my magic
granted
badge.
him extra rights.
Yes, it gave me extra rights to record in the courtroom. Where Derek J, he's there. It's like, well, I'm freaking as well. It's like, well, I need some identification. I need some press credentials.
It's like, what do you do?
It was hilarious. Where like this literally gave me like I could record in any courtroom in Manchester because we printed up a press badge that says I'm press.
Yeah. And of course, you could see the entire before the trial and then the trial itself and the aftermath where I give kind of a summation of what happened. It's all at shiredude.com. Just click on live stream, and that's the last 3 videos that are
Now, mind
posted.
you, just to go back to that, now, mind you, Ian and people at Free Keene and whatnot, they did put the legwork in to get the state to recognize Free Keene as press. So that is
Correct.
listed within there. So if that legwork wasn't done, that wouldn't have not meant anything, but that's assuming they didn't know. But just literally, if you're ever going to go to a courtroom and record or anything like that, or any event whatsoever, just make a press badge. Just design one, have a website associated with it, and just make a press badge. And odds are they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Especially it looks, somewhat professional, and like a laminated badge with like a little thing that goes down there.
Laminate. Yeah.
You-
Laminating
yeah.
things is magic.
You can't just make a badge. Oh wait, you can.
Yeah. In this instance, I was the state against the state. The state recognized me as some sort of legitimate thing, even though I'm just a human being that had a badge printed up.
Freeking.com, that the state approved blog that everyone loves. Yeah.
But so what? No, give us the details on what happened with the trial, because
I don't want to go into too much detail here because I am gonna upload a video that summarizes all this, so you don't have to listen to me talk about it for too long. But the judge got there 2 hours late. showed no remorse, by the way, for being late. He didn't even say sorry
apologize.
to the people sitting there. And the entire time we're sitting there, people are making like remarks like, why is the judge late? You know, I should be able to go like and get my charges dropped because of this. One of the guys even like started speaking up at the clerk who was there. It was just us sitting facing a clerk and a bailiff for most of the time, and the prosecutor.
You know, that clerk had to think like everyone there was associated with us because
I
these
bet.
other people were like, you know, this one guy that was there that's a small business owner or whatnot was like saying, you know, I'm losing money being here, and yet the judge isn't even here, the prosecutor isn't here. I've been here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
What's going on? You know, and other people are voicing concern. And then we had a vote to suspend the
To suspend the judge's driver's license. Because if I didn't show up to court today, they would have suspended my driver's license.
And all in favor say aye. Like other people on the other side of the courtroom who weren't even associated with us raised their hands
Yeah.
and like joining in on it.
Yeah.
It was a fun court experience.
There was a great interaction between Ian and the bailiff.
Oh, I wish
where the
that was
bailiff
on-
tried
I
to
wish
get
he
him
recorded. He didn't
to stop
record it to be
filming.
nice, but like it was a great interaction.
It was Ian is very professional at that now, like kind of shutting down the statist at that point, saying, okay, so you're telling me to stop recording. What happens at that point, you know? Or else what? And that's a great question to ask them, because then they have to actually say either they have to say I'm doing violence against you, or you know, they have to kind of flounder and look terrible.
And what's crazy is all they have to do is not talk to him, and he wouldn't record. He even said, "I'm only going to
Yeah.
record interactions that you have with the person I'm recording."
Yeah.
So if you don't talk to him or the person I'm here to cover, he's not going to record. And he said that. And then they keep talking to him, telling him not to
trying to
record. I'm
harass
like,
him.
as long as you keep talking to me, I'm going to record. And it's like, it's a never ending loop.
Yeah.
Like if they don't want to be recorded, just stop talking to him. And
Mhm.
that's the solution. And they didn't get that.
But the trial itself is all online. There's gonna be a better video up of that on freekeen.com, because Ian took a really good quality video.
Yeah.
And I think Derek got some good audio as well. So hopefully that gets put together nicely. And then I'm not going to go too much into the details because it did end in a continuance. So we get to go back in August, August 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
At least you're a free man until then.
Until then, yeah, I got to stay of execution. So the judge actually, you know, he seemed somewhat receptive to what I was trying to do with the charity thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's a request that a judge normally gets, because people just want their money back.
Of course.
For you saying, like, I'd rather have this money go to a private charity.
Yeah, I was trying to get the fine to go to a private local charity instead of to the state.
I have a court battle coming up, too, for a traffic violation as well. I'm going to do the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we got some more strategy stuff we got to talk about for that. 'Cause, yeah. I was getting some pointers from the guys from Keen who've done it before.
Well, here's the thing. Both of us are new to court activism. And honestly, I don't want to even do court activism, but I feel as if I need to kind of educate myself on it and kind of learn the tricks of the trade of going into court. Because who knows, maybe one day in the future, I will have a harsh, crime against me or arrested or someone, God forbid I get arrested or whatever, but I don't want to be arrested.
You want that experience.
But I want that experience, so I
Yeah.
kind of know what it's like going in, and what better way to use than like a traffic ticket to kind of learn, kind of get your feet, dabble your toe in the water, or what it's, because to me, I'm just paying for the experience of going to court. Does that make any sense? You know what I'm saying? It's just it's practice, just in case I need to use it.
Sort of, but there's a real hazard for selectivists, because if you don't show up, then it gets worse.
Yeah.
No, I have to show up. I understand, because if I don't show up, there's going to be a warrant for my
Arrest.
kidnapping and engagement. Where if the judge doesn't show up, we just have to sit there for 2 hours and wait for him to show
mock
up.
the state.
Yeah, mock the state and
Yeah.
the clerks that are working for the state in that
We
situation.
got a lot of support in that courtroom, though. Is people actually saying to us, "I love what you guys are doing here."
Yeah, Ian was handing out what was it? Don't take a plea and something else.
Don't
right?
take the plea deal. Yeah, the
and
flyers.
Shire Society stuff too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I had this theory that our best recruiting grounds would be outside the district court and outside the DMV, because it's like,
Oh yes,
where people are the most frustrated ever, and they're ready to join something, that'll change it.
Yeah, well, the DMV is just, it's god awful. I went there the last time I was at DMV, because actually I have a New Hampshire license, because I kind of had to when I got here. And I was wearing one of Davi Barker's ANCAP flag lapel pins on my coat at the time, and I had like a 20-minute conversation with the people at the DMV about peace and prosperity and non-aggression principle, because they were like, oh, what's that flag? Where's that from? And I kind of went down that whole rabbit hole, and at the end of the day, I'm like, look, the only reason why I'm here is because if I don't get this piece of plastic that you guys are going to hand me, you'll kidnap me and throw me in a cage if I'm driving on the road, and that's the only reason why I'm here. You know, I'm picking and choosing my battles, and I don't want you to kidnap me.
Warping some minds there.
Yeah.
One thing that is cool about New Hampshire, though, if people are listening from other states, is the DMV here isn't as bad as some states. I mean, like New York, New Jersey, it's real hell. Here, they're actually kind of friendly. You know, it's kind of weird. You're sort of not used to that if you're from another state, even though they're the DMV, which is like one of those bureaucracies. They're actually kind of nice people. So it's hard to knock them. The clerks, anyway.
Well, I mean, a lot of people that work for the state are usually nice, but at the same time, they're working for the state.
Not where I'm from, not in California.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I was from Illinois, where no one was nice to you.
Yeah.
In regards to like
Exactly.
the state, you know, that never happened. you
I
know.
have a little New Hampshire story. I was considering a store location along a road, and I wanted to find out how many cars go by there every day. You know, it's a typical thing for a retail location. So there is a phone number for the governor's office. I think it's 271-2121. And I said, all right, I'll just bug them. I'll call the governor's office, you know. So I got somebody, and I said, I want to find out how many cars go by this location. They said, oh, let me transfer you over to the highway department. And I repeated the same question to the receptionist, and she says, oh, let me transfer you to Steve. And then I get Steve on the phone, and he says, 18,000 cars a day. I counted them last February. And I was going like, wow. I got to the guy that counted the cars.
Wow.
Within a minute or two.
That's efficiency. That's kind of crazy.
New Hampshire story. True.
More New Hampshire when we come back.
What if the key to achieving
All right, this is a long break. This is like a 10-minute break.
This is the long break?
Yeah.
Cool.
You still staying, or you going? You said you're going to jet.
Did you want to hit the crowdfunding thing before you go? Or I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, and we could talk about some of the topics. Let me see about my ride.
The successes are piling up.
John's over the car. I think he's doing video editing anyway. So,
All right, dude. What else you want to talk about with them? Are you guys saying one more segment, or are you saying the whole time? What's going on?
I'm gonna say the whole time.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
okay.
I mean, he's your right to back to where.
I can give you a ride back because after the show, I gotta leave to go pick up Davi from the airport.
Okay.
So I'm leaving anyway, so I can drop you off.
All right, cool.
See what's happening at
Thanks.
freekeen.com and get connected.
Um,
Video,
I'm gonna
audio,
check back
free
in the chat
books, a forum, and activist tools you can download.
Because
using
Davi lands at
your
like
area.
1 or
That's
something like that.
freekeen.com. That's freekeen.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free
I'm
media
out of
can
coffee.
save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers,
Hey, do you,
informants,
Quavos, do you listen to Free and Fiends?
narcs, fakes,
once in a while.
rats.
Michael Dean, who's talking right now.
Clear wolf.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you have your headphones on. He's on the commercial break right now. A few weeks ago, he put the audio podcast of him having a threesome on my Facebook wall, saying how I should record myself having sex for liberty or something along those lines. So during the show a couple weeks ago, we played it on the show and had a reaction during the break to him putting that on.
No, it's not activism if it's not on video.
Or audio. Audio
Correct.
activism is just as important as video activism, or film activism, or picture activism.
Well, yeah. I was having a conversation in a thread about flag burning, right? But it was a video of flag burning that we put online.
We don't have to come back from our 6
not
minutes.
coming- well, this
I
is the long
know
break.
it's a long
This is the
break.
long
dude.
break.
This is you're messed
Can we
up.
get a show clock?
We would. I know
Anyway.
for the long breaks, it's always 10. It's always
All right. 6 minutes after,
10:57 to 11:06.
So,
at the top and bottom of the hour.
Where was I on this? I lost it.
You're burning flags left and right for the name of liberty.
Well, we made a funny video where we were burning flags and posted it online, and someone was saying, well, that's not activism. And then I said to him, well, what's the difference between this and holding up a sign for a candidate? Right? And if anything, this is more public. It has the chance to be seen by more eyes because it's recorded and online and viewable. you know, and it is making a statement, just the same as any sign you could hold makes a statement.
You know, honestly, I don't understand why people do any kind of activism and don't have some sort of document.
If you don't have a camera, that's
documenting
not activism.
Whether it's not video, audio, a picture, a blog,
you might as well
something.
be facing a wall with your sign.
You know, if you cop block without a camera, are you really cop blocking?
No,
it didn't even happen.
You're just being a dick to police.
Yeah.
Like what is cop blocking without a camera? There's a camera in the logo.
That's the whole point.
I don't think you can do it without a camera.
I don't get activism without any kind. Like I've gone and ran about Grafton. Like I don't like Jack. You're saying how you want to take me up to Grafton and see because I would love to go see Grafton, but like they don't. They don't do anything in regards to like they'll show up at Pork Fest and have a table, and I hear stories from OG freestaters like, "Oh, this is going on at Grafton," you know. But there's nowhere that I could go to like read about it, watch it, see video, and like maybe even a podcast or someone talking about, "Hey, this happened here. This is the story. This is what's going on." I don't hear anything about that. So it's all hearsay. It's all word of mouth.
I don't think the internet has gotten to Grafton yet.
Well, someone needs to fix that.
That might be it. Yeah. You know,
they can have like messenger pigeons bring it down to Manchester so we can talk about it.
We were talking earlier about how we were live streaming the trial, my trial, right? And it's not great audio, but I don't think they've ever live streamed a trial in Keene, even like probably because the internet is not as good. I guess, you know, that's a limitation there that you'll have. But I think I don't know if this is the first live stream trial in New Hampshire. I'm sure there's been at least one, but
no, there've been others, but I don't know which ones.
It's not often.
Yeah, I can stay on a little bit longer. So
Sure.
I'll stay for say a half hour.
All right. So, dude.
Yeah, let's
what
get
we
into
hitting
the
next?
Alt Expo campaign that we're starting up after Pork Fest.
And
and the topics, you know, kind of some topics that are going on in Alt Expo.
Cool.
Excellent.
The Colorado Supreme Court upheld the earlier decisions. The panel of judges wrote in the opinion, the Supreme Court holds that under the plain language of
Is Davi paying you to pick him up from the airport?
Okay, here's one thing. All right, let me go on a little rant here about this community. All right, I am not an agorist taxi driver. All right, and also I'm not out to make a quick buck in the community. I give favors to people, and other people can give me favors when I need a favor. I'll help people out. I don't ask for money to do so. You know, and it's something that sometimes I understand if you're going strip, that's my business. That's what I'm a driver, blah, blah, blah. I get that. And some people need to pay for the ride. I don't mind people pitching in for gas if they really want to pitch in. If I'm driving someone far, like, all right, if you want to put $5 in for gas or something, cool, whatever. But I'm not doing it to make a quick buck.
Right.
You know, and I know that sounds like anti-capitalist of me. I know I'm a capitalist at core, but like, I'm not in it to make money in the community. I'm here to help my friends and family out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it bothers me when like people want to charge to help me or vice versa. And I'm not in it to make money.
Yeah,
you know,
it's okay
like,
to do a favor for
it's okay to do favors for people and ask for that favor in return down the road if you need something.
Yep.
Two of you are a bunch of commie pinkos. Ayn Rand is rolling her grave.
Good. I'm not a fan of objectivism, so
did you?
I got turned off by it.
I can imagine.
It's a bit of a turnoff for me too. Yeah.
Did you hear about Ayn Rand's new book?
No.
Fuck you, I got mine.
Oh, I thought that was a rap album that she released.
No, it is a good point though that a lot of people do favors for each other. Like the almost organized one, not really quite organized, is when people move here, people help them unload their truck and things like that. It's not like they're charging them for that, you know. So voluntary acts of generosity, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, the whole idea of like, I love the new movers parties, like not I'm saying like the new movers parties at the cool. I'm saying like having people unload.
Right.
Don't know, honestly, like sometimes I've only gone to one because I do live a really busy life. But if someone's saying they're bringing like a full huge truckload of stuff, I kind of want to be like, I moved here with a cat in a bag, you know.
Why did you guys bring all that stuff?
Like, why are you bringing all this stuff? Like, you don't need it. You know, again, I'm all about, you know, people owning whatever they want to own. I'm all down for that. But I live a very minimalistic lifestyle. I barely own anything. Like, you don't even see a TV in this apartment, you know.
The thing about the big truck thing is when you do that yourself, say you and your wife or something like that, and unloading a truck can take all day.
Oh no, I'm well aware. I've done
And
it
it's-
before.
And it's almost like it's a competition. How fast can they get a truck unloaded? I think they've unloaded a whole U-Haul truck in 40 minutes here because so many people show up to help,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Welcome back to the Rebel Love Show here on LRN.FM. We're at the top of the hour, and we're talking about you guys got a crowdfunding going on for Alt Expo. You guys want to talk about that for a bit?
Yeah. Actually,
What's going on with it?
well, at first we were trying to figure out which crowdfunding platform we should use: Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a new mover, Calvin Boulier.
Calvin 2.0.
Calvin 2.0.
Yeah, that's what we
correct.
call him.
Calvin Thompson is Calvin 1.0.
Right. And so he told me about this this website he's developing called Liberty Backer. And so one advantage of the Liberty Backer is that the Liberty Backer platform is that the fees are lower than what's already out there. The second thing is that the fees stay within the community because the developer is a free stater, and it's really, as the name suggests, Liberty Backer. It's for our various projects, business ventures, whatever we're trying to raise money for. And so when I heard that, there's what better crowdfunding platform for Alt Expo than LibertyBacker.com. And so we're going to be the quintessential guinea pigs. We're going to be the first.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And the site is supposed to be live in a few days in time for PorkFest.
Yeah, and what happens to us is we shoot a bunch of raw video, and the Alt Expo is not generally a year-round thing, and everybody goes back to whatever they were doing before, and then the videos sit there for a while, and so we had gotten almost like a 2-year backlog of videos that needed to be edited. So sometimes, even though we were talking about doing favors voluntarily and for each other, sometimes money can help. So we kind of need to get some equipment and actually pay people to edit the videos down, because we have this huge collection, probably a couple of hundred talks that are actually pretty valuable, and they could be rewatched, like you say. Is if you just show something once, it's kind of like,
If you're just talking to a room of 50 people, that's great, but you can reach 5,000, 50,000, a million people just by throwing it up on YouTube.
Yeah, and we've started to get an international following too. There's a fellow in Mumbai, India. He's actually south of there. He wants to have an Alt Expo in India.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wow.
That would be so good. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm actually so I'm actually contracted right now with Alt Expo to produce a handful of videos, and you can actually see them in a playlist right on the front page of ShireDude.com.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always. And yeah, I'd like to be hired to do more of those shoots. So
we need that. We need the help. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing we'll. I don't know if I can. Like the day after PorkFest, we'll be releasing the crowdfunding campaign.
Okay. Is that the start date?
That's what I'll go for because I'm making that video, so I'll try to, if I can, even just get. Because the Alties will all be at PorkFest, right? So I can get footage of them while I'm there.
Oh, that's right. You
for the campaign.
So it's a tentative start date.
Yeah.
Isn't everything tentative start dates at Old Expo?
So did you say Calvin is going to have it ready in a couple of days?
Yeah, he's going to have it ready before PorkFest. So hopefully I can
awesome.
Hook up with him and get that done. And that's going to bring Alt Expo to the next level. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, my favorite Alt Expo event from last year was when you guys had a debate on non-aggression principle. with Carla Gurecki and
Oh yeah, that was the fireside chat.
yeah,
right?
and
The
Malark
use
and
of
Rose.
force.
Use of force.
Yeah.
That's right. Use of force.
Right.
I have that on my YouTube channel. It has a couple thousand views, I think, now or something like that. I recorded that.
Do you really?
Yeah, I was in the front row. I was sitting next to Graham and I was recording it the whole time.
Oh wow! I can add
Oh,
that.
we need that raw video.
Yeah, I'll add that
Yeah.
to the playlist.
It's on my YouTube channel. I don't believe in IP, so if you want to take it, go right ahead.
Yeah.
But it's been on my YouTube. I literally post that at PorkFest, so it's been up for a whole year now.
wow.
This is with Carla Garrick, Larkin Rose,
Swearinger
Baron
and
Swearingen.
Selfie the Outlaw.
Selfie the Outlaw was there.
She is my biggest fan.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So somebody in the audience said my favorite thing there. Somebody was one person was complaining that we don't hear the discussion at the FSP because there had been a controversy right before that where they banned Chris Cantwell for talking about violence, and they actually accused him of saying things he didn't say. So I'll just throw that out there. But somebody said, "How come the FSP won't talk about that?" And they said, "Well, you're here right now, aren't you? It's being talked about at the FSP." And they said, "No, this is the Alt Expo. They're talking about it there."
I kind of thought that whole thing was blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But
As usual.
it was an interesting thing to see, like, that debate happen at PorkFest. So that was kind of a cool thing to actually see, because it's kind of like the crux of like this whole community is the use of force. So that kind of went down to it was cool to see that debate take place in front of so many people, because there's like 50 some people in that tent.
No,
watching
I
that.
counted, and I think that one exceeded 100 because they
No,
couldn't
easily.
actually fit under the
Yeah,
tent,
there's people
at that
outside the
point.
tent as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our biggest event.
What do you guys are? What's the big thing that people should look forward to at Alt Expo this year?
It's hard to say any one big thing. I mean, last year we had 70 different time slots. I mean, some of them were repetitions, like meditation every morning or whatever. But it was like our biggest program ever. Where are we going to publish? Oh, yeah, we're actually in the PorkFest flyer. So people that register, or you can go to porkfest.com/schedule. I don't know. We're kicking off. I always like to make sure we cover a little history. So our first speaker is going to be on William Penn and the movement for liberty. So, early libertarian, before the word was even, used. And we go through all kinds of topics. We have nonviolent communication, common law grand juries, permaculture, on and on and on. There's one interesting guy that's come every year, Alfred Cardone. Well, not every year, but lately. And he's a researcher that was working on his PhD thesis. And he couldn't tell us much about it at the time. He says he wasn't supposed to discuss it, but he's finally going to discuss his results. And
he's a student at Oxford University in England, right?
right, I think so.
And so he told us his thesis, his dissertation, is going to be on documenting the liberty movement in the United States.
Yeah.
That would be a fascinating thing to read, because it's like you can see the liberty movement or freedom movement in the United States. It's all over the place. It goes all the way from Rand Paul minarchists who can't stand, all the way down to Alt Expo. You know, so it's a wide range of just like liberty. It goes from, I mean, it's just like with anything. Like if you look at a topic that someone might be interested in, you think it's just like small, but when you dive into it, there's all these categories and facets of how wide that area can actually be.
Yeah. So see, because that was his dissertation, he's had like several years now to do the research and travel, and he goes to all kinds of events. So that's going to be a good one. Alfred Cardone.
Go ahead.
I think one that I'm gonna stick around for is the debate on the use of property rights, rather.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
It's like a panel discussion where there's going to be
Different theories of
right.
land. I call it the land question. I think there's some big questions in the freedom movement. It's on the schedule so far as the land problem, but I call it the land question.
What's the big question with land?
Well, there's oh man, you don't want to start this right now. Obviously at one extreme, the communists believe that only the state owns all the land,
Well,
they own it all in common. And then if you go back,
Well, in regards to like a free world, like a free society, how would land work? Yeah, 30 seconds. Go.
I was just going to say the other opposite was the king owns everything. Like right now, the Queen of England owns all the land in England. Is that right?
No, I hear you.
You're just gonna have to listen to the entire debate.
Yeah,
Go to
exactly.
PorkFest, kids. You'll learn more.
That's right. The guy in India wants us to do.
Yeah. I've thought about it if the Wi-Fi in groups, then we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, that'd be the only way.
Yeah. They'd have to make serious improvements though. I want to try to live stream a little bit at PorkFest this year and see how well it works.
Yeah, and I think they're asking people not to live stream just to suck up all the bandwidth.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Or visit his website.
You'd want a specific person doing it.
If you-
One thing that I thought about would be
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at
Oh, yeah.
Talk to the mic. We're still on.
What?
We're still live, dude.
I know we're still
We're
on the
live on
fix.
YouTube. Talk
One-
to the microphone.
One thing that I've thought about for conferences is you have people vote on what thing should be live streamed or what like top 5 talks do you guys want to hear, and then they could even, I mean, if you want to get really intricate, they could vote with bitcoins, and that way you have donations coming in
Yeah, to pay
for the
their
live
bandwidth.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could do that with a satellite connection or something like that.
Yeah. Definitely, if we can figure out the internet, I would love to do that live streaming.
Well, the guy in India suggests Google Hangouts on air. Have you ever used that?
We're using
We're
Google
using it right
Hangouts
now,
Right
actually.
now
That's
to
what I thought.
broadcast to
That's what I
YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I do. Right now, I'm using for live stream like events, like the trial today. I use the Bambuser app.
Yeah.
That's just at bambuser.com for you listening. And yeah, it's great. I love it. Although I don't know how available Bambuser is in other countries. Sometimes
It's
things
the
are
internet. It
restricted
should
that
be
way.
available.
It should be available, but I don't know. I don't know how widespread Bambuser is. I guess there's probably a way to check that out and see who's using it. Although I don't think you don't even need an account to view it, really.
I have no idea. I don't think so.
You don't need
just
to-
view it on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just
yeah.
embedded on the website.
Mhm.
God, that's so clocking.
I knew that was
It's
gonna check in.
21, right? Something like that.
The Shire Free Church.
Group of people that may not share identical theological
You need to have a Shire Dude church commercial on
I need to have a Shire Dude Church service at PorkFest.
You
Not
need
this
to.
PorkFest. I'm not prepared to do this one.
You're not, why aren't you prepared? What did that involve? Like smoking pot and
Wow.
like having a
Wow.
prayer?
Way to minimize my religion.
Well, I'm sorry. Would be a different drug? What
There would be
what's going
at
to be
least
involved in the
one
ceremony?
happy huggy hand ceremony, which is
Isn't-
what the one we performed with Carlos and Brett last week.
Okay.
At least one of those.
Okay.
Followed by I don't know, maybe some fucking trust falls or something. I don't know. I haven't come up with it yet. I haven't come up with all the customs yet, which is what I do as the shaman of the Shire Dude Church. You see, all customs are made up. That's the secret.
That's true.
That's the secret.
Yeah. Every
one point-
tradition, ceremony has been made up. Yeah. I know, babe. You are the.
We have
You're the real mistress and
two
the
high priestesses in the studio, in our studio audience right now. If you guys want to, if you guys want to wave, you're both on camera right now.
Facebook.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world?
Huh.
Stop using their money.
But yeah, I'd love that. PorkFest 2016. I think we can do a Shire Dude Church event. If I start now, I'll have it
plan that
prepared.
eventually. You need to get your own church, like actual parsonage.
My own actual parsonage.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that'll be our next apartment.
The
We'll,
par-
we'll name it a parsonage.
The internet.
The internet?
The internet is your parsonage.
Currently, yeah.
If you enjoy
It's just currently it's just facebook.com
Hey,
slash
really
Shire
quick,
Dude
what
Church.
we hit next? What do you want to hit next?
We're gonna go into topics.
Okay. All right, welcome back to the Rebel Love Show and Alt Expo topics. I have to be honest, I haven't even looked at the schedule for PorkFest or Alt Expo. I've been too busy. I know it's coming.
Well, there's some Alt Expo talks on the PorkFest schedule, right?
Porkfest.com/schedule.
And if you haven't bought your tickets, do so now. Go to PorkFest. Come party with us and go see some cool talks.
Yeah, and just as a note, we have some supplemental talks that aren't even on there, and they're in the Expo Lounge. And we usually print the schedule for that as an addendum the night before because the schedule keeps changing. So,
well, I'd imagine. I mean, how many people do you have talking at Alt Expo?
I haven't counted this year. It's a lot.
How much planning goes into Alt Expo?
We used to really jam and do it all like in the last 3 weeks, but because we've gotten included more on the schedule, they have a print deadline, so we probably start 3 months in advance now, maybe more.
Wow.
It also helps that there are more of us.
Oh yeah, true.
That's yeah.
Have you seen how with the rise of the FSP and the Porcupine community, how big have you seen with that, the rise of like the alties within it?
Oh yeah, I guess that's hard to say because first of all, we're really bad at publicizing ourselves. So sometimes people come to PorkFest and they don't even know about our talks until the whole thing's over. So that's really bad on my part. And but it has even on the main program that were things that we didn't organize. There have been more and more topics that go to the alternatives, how to live outside the system or how to do things different than politics. Like a lot of people think that the only activism you do is like during the election cycle, and I think it's like year round, every day, you know. So
what is your favorite kind of activism?
Well, essentially we're the Alt Expo kind of one of the premises is that most of the mainstream systems are corrupted, most or all of them. So actually that activism is your whole life. I mean, you're trying to find out alternative ways of education and protecting yourself and your money system and your health systems, your food, everything is. So it's not like one favorite thing. I just like to keep finding more niches where I can become more free. I mean, I've had this concept for a long time of coming up with a way to measure your freedom factor, how free are you? Because it applies to everything in your life, your relationships, your food, your money, all of that. So we don't actually ever know how to grade ourselves on that, but I'd love to see us develop a freedom factor, I call it.
In this community, would you say that, because I really do believe this, do you think being in this community, you have a higher ability to be freer, to do things that are operating outside of, the status quo, outside the mainstream mind think as it is, and kind of break down those like social barriers and like being able to do things like homeschooling and anything else in that matter?
Yeah, because the idea of concentrating people all in one state is really starting to work. Like at first, if there was only 40 or 50 movers here and you wanted to be in an alternative economy, we only had, if there were 50 of you, you only had 49 potential customers. Now you've got like several thousand. So I think it's starting to get more and more viable to have this whole alternative economy where you could have like 80% of your commerce within the community almost,
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I use Bitcoin all the time within the community, and it's weird because every PorkFest or every Liberty event I'll go to or whatnot, there's so many people that have no idea, they've never seen a Bitcoin transaction in person, and that seems like almost like a foreign thing to them. They're just used to using it online, like through Overstock or whatever. And I'm like, no. Like here's my Bitcoin wallet. Here's my transactions. Like all these transactions, this is my personal wallet on my phone. All these have been in-person transactions.
Yeah, it's good to always be a mentor. If you know how to do it, how to liberate yourself more, teach another person.
Well, that's one thing I took advantage of multiple times last PorkFest was if I didn't recognize them, I figured they're not in the community. So I'm like, hey, I would introduce myself. I'm in line for like a vendor or something like that. I'm like, have you ever seen a Bitcoin transaction in person? I'm just curious. And I'm like, no, I'm actually kind of curious because everyone there kind of knows what Bitcoin is. I'm like, awesome. Check this out. I think I was at the Alt Expo and I was buying bacon and eggs or something like that from down in here and at the suite or something like that. And it was Marcel Fontaine was there, and I showed him his very first Bitcoin transaction at PorcFest, and he'd never seen it in person. And I was like, "Oh, check this out!" And just boom, and I'm like, "Yep."
It's essential information, and now that he's moved here,
he moved here.
He's ready.
yeah. And I remember I did that like every day. I did that whenever I went. Almost every vendor I went to, I would turn around, there's someone in line, and I would ask them that question, and I would buy because I spent the last year I did the entire week on Bitcoin.
Oh, that's
and
great.
if I couldn't get a good signal for internet to use Bitcoin, I used silver, which I bought with Bitcoin at PorcFest. So they took silver too. So I didn't use one Federal Reserve note the whole time I was at PorcFest.
That's a lot like from the Alties at Libertopia 2013. I learned from them how to use Open Garden, the Open Garden app.
Oh,
the mesh
good.
networking
Yeah,
app.
yeah. And I was running that last year, and I would see people pop into my network there because I was watching them on Open Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably saw you pop in.
And I have my phone named Shire Dude, so people can see that it's Shire Dude.
Well, you're talking about, I call it the multi-money system. It's like in the old days, if you traveled in Europe, people would have Deutschmarks and Lira and francs, and depending on what country they were in, or they were always changing from one to the other. So that was an example of how it happens in the real world, that people use multiple monies. We tried to do that at the Alt Expo early on too, and we came up, there were several different systems, but in 2008 we had the Expo hours, and we actually printed certificates for that. But there was another online thing then called Shire Hours. And so, yeah, everybody's experiment.
Is that anything like Shire Time?
Yeah, that was Russell Canning came up with Shire Time, which was like 42 and a half minutes off one way or the other. I don't know what it was.
Probably so we were late. Yeah.
Do you mind if I rattle off some of the upcoming stuff that piqued my interest?
Go for it.
Yeah, man.
Okay. For the old Expo talks, Dark Android. I mean, the name alone sounds cool. I mean, it's like an allusion to the dark web where you're untraceable and, well, encrypted. And, like if you have Android or any smartphone, every time you download an app, they give you some kind of prompt, some kind of warning that this gives, by downloading this, the app has access to. Then it's just a laundry list and of all the data and metadata and all the records.
Yeah, it's listening to like you're like on your like microphone and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At least they're honest about it.
Kind of. I mean, it's like an 11-page thing.
I understand that. I'm just saying, at least on Android, I'm not supporting it, but at least it's like, they list, we're going to spy on all these things. Apple doesn't even do that. That's going on with Apple, but at least like on the Google Marketplace, it's at least like, we're spying on all these apps right now. But more Dark Android. We can get back.
Why did you move to the Shire?
Still live on the camera, right?
We're always live.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I would say that at least in the private sector, they tell you, because if they don't tell you, you'll get pissed off and stop using their service.
Yeah, stop using their service.
We can't do that with the government. We can't click decline.
Yeah.
Right.
To opt out of all their bullshit.
All their services, in quotes.
Our services, they're serving servicing the shit out of us.
Hey, could my rides out front, when we go back on, could I say just a couple of things and then turn it over to you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I wait till the next break before I actually bolt?
It's up to you. You're whatever you want to do. Because we only have 2 segments left. Each segment's like 10, 11 minutes, something like that. So we're back in like 3 or 4 minutes.
You can bounce mid-segment if you want.
Yeah, if you want to bounce mid-segment.
Flick your nose at me and I'll know it's time to go.
Alrighty.
That way I'll know to switch the cameras. It'll be like you just disappeared. Oh man, what was it? Yeah, the whole contract, 11-page contract thing. That reminds me of this activism idea I had. Where
what contract is that?
Like if a business is like, oh, these are terms and conditions, okay. Agree or decline, and you have to just agree and like take your lumps if something bad's in there because you don't have the time. But for like a cop blocking situation or even like any kind of situation where you want to record a bureaucrat, just hand them like an 11-page document that in there somewhere it says you were being video and audio recorded. So you are informing them, but there's all sorts of other nonsense in there, so it's just buried.
There was a thing that we used to do. It's called the Public Servant Questionnaire, and you could actually Google search that and find it. So anytime a public servant asks you a question, you say, well, first I'm going to need some information, and you hand them that, and it says your name, your boss's name, your job title. Is this your real name? If not, please place your real name in here.
You can hand that to census workers. That'd be a great one.
We'll need your address for purposes of service of court process, and you're sort of putting them on notice that if they do anything out of order, you're gonna be subpoena them to court too, And most of them will not fill it out, and you'll say, sorry,
then we can't have this interaction.
I need to know who I'm dealing with.
This needs to be on the record.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I definitely need a public service questionnaire. Is what that
public servant questionnaire.
Public servant questionnaire. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's a nice PDF of it online. I think you can find it.
We should have some of those on hand.
Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.
All right, so what we hitting up when we come back?
The easiest
I see you guys have your show 10 p.m. Tuesday.
Yeah.
10 to midnight.
Barney Kilgore, who became
And then we're also doing another time slot.
At PorkFest, 3 p.m. on Friday at PorkFest as well.
Oh, okay.
So we actually have 2 time slots at PorkFest, double dipping.
And we're going to be live both
times on LRN.
On LRN. Who are we going to have on?
Tuesday, I have no idea. Friday will be Murdoch Biscotti of Come and Take It Texas.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Don'tComply.com. I've been looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
I have never met Murdoch in person. However, I've been friends with him for over 3 years. Like, phone calls, video conferences.
From his activism, he seems legit.
And he has been. It's been fascinating watching his rise into activism because he was kind of like just starting off doing activism when I started talking to him on Facebook. He's like one of the first people that I started talking to when I created my Facebook account for this. And it's fascinating seeing him rise and like what I've been doing. And it's just weird like watching both of us do different things when we're both doing anything. All right. Welcome back to the Rebel Love Show. And Jack, you're talking about you want to hit some topics before you had to jet.
Yeah, I got to bounce quick here, but I'll shamelessly promote my talk. See, I'm a follower of Sam Konkin and the New Libertarian Manifesto, which is something that I think all libertarians should read. It's kind of like one of the least read books, but I still think it's one of the most important ones. But Konkin loved to coin new terms if there wasn't something that already suited. And a lot of people don't know this, but he's the guy that coined the term minarchism. He coined the term agorism. There's a few others. Partyarchy means an anarchist that believes in party action. He coined the term Kochtopus to refer to the fact that the Koch brothers are taking over the movement by buying everything. So I'm going to give a talk on Friday at noon called the New Libertarian Lexicon. So it's the vocabulary of Konkin and some of the other extensions of that have come along.
Like for me, I've never actually read it, but like a lot of all those terms are terms that are normally used.
Yeah. But they started one day, like 1974, 75 time frame.
What's fascinating is how like libertarianism is literally just it's kind of like the gateway drug to like voluntarism and anarchism and whatnot and anti-politics, where like you start going down that rabbit hole, and that's just like step 1 or 2 down the rabbit hole, and you just keep going down. Like that's how it's been for me for like the last like 6 years.
Yeah, and there's other ones. I've got to write this whole paper on anarcho-capitalism because a lot of people don't know where that came from. But there was a particular guy, his name's Jarrett Wallstein. He wrote on it in 1969, I forget which month. And then later on, Carl Hess got an article published in Playboy, and he used it for the first time in a really big public place. It was April of 1969 or so. And so I got the whole history of that. And by the way, some of the original people are still out there, and they're on Facebook, and I've messaged with them. And I got them to confirm some of the facts. So I have a piece in development on that, on the origin of anarcho-capitalism.
A lot of people don't get anarcho-capitalism. They think it's just, it's just, instead of the state owning things, which is businesses owning everything and whatnot. My thing that I love about it is the simple fact that we can have voluntary interactions between people. There's no, like, all labor is legalized. You don't have to work illegally to be paid under the table or whatnot. That wouldn't exist in like a voluntary society. Like a voluntary society and anarcho-capitalism kind of can go hand in hand.
Yeah, and what some people are going to hate about my talk is that I'm against the use of the term anarcho-capitalism because I think it attempts to conjoin two contradictory things.
Well, it also it basically takes two words that people really hate: anarchy and capitalism.
Two tainted words.
Just puts it together, and so I'm down for the ANCAP stuff, but I don't really talk about being anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah,
I like to use other words like voluntarism and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. A lot of times people get in arguments and they'll be at a party and they'll argue for 2 hours until they finally realize, oh, yeah, I agree with you. We were just using different definitions, So one of the things that libertarianism should be doing is clarifying things instead of muddying it. So
one thing I think people in that are liberty-minded and whatnot should say is whenever I talk about, if I'm trying to talk to a statist about, the ideas of liberty, I'm in favor of all these programs. I look them down the eye. I'm like, look, I am not any program you're for, any social program whatsoever, education, you name it. I'm not against the idea of there being a safety net or education stuff or anything like that. I just don't think that you should be able to forcibly rob me, or if I don't comply, throw me in a cage because I don't want to fund your program.
Right.
All programs that you're in favor for, I'm in favor too. I just think there's a better way that's peaceful, that doesn't require force and violence to achieve your objectives.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I find that a lot of people they're political people that believe in the state. They just don't get it.
And the reason that works for you is because you actually go into it instead of just saying, I'm an anarcho-capitalist, you know? And then working back from there, at that point you're backpedaling. And the problem with the word capitalism is, wasn't it, Karl Marx was the second person to use it, and I think the first person to actually define it.
The guy that defined it was a libertarian. Back then they were English liberals, but it was Thomas Hodgkin. And so libertarians defined the term, and Marx started using it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that were really coined originally by libertarians that Marx came about and started putting it into his lexicon.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's fascinating seeing the conversations that we will have. It's weird. People that are already at this mindset will debate the most minute thing, and a lot of times I'll change my verbiage completely depending on who I'm talking to. This show, we're talking as if we're talking to each other. We're using all these terms, and the language that we use is almost a whole different language at this point compared to what the Muggles or normal people the Muggle is the in the Matrix use. We're using verbiage and languages and terms and expressions that aren't normally used within mainstream culture.
Yeah, people outside the family.
They're not in the cult.
The brotherhood.
Would you guys say this, the liberty culture in general, it's a culture. There's a whole identity to it. You know what I'm saying? There's community.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually even multiple cultures within the liberty community too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I gotta go. I got something important to do even later tonight. So
all right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
We'll see you at Pork Fest.
I'll be there.
Make my way through the Alt Lounge.
Excellent.
Where exactly that going to be at?
That's on RV site number 93. So that's right at the top of Agora Valley. As you get to the end of the road, you'll see a blue and white striped tent, and that's the Expo Lounge.
That's cool. I'll probably be spending a lot of time there.
Yay, good. We'll have a lot of fun.
All right, well, we'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Thanks.
All right, so We do have a bunch of events coming up at Pork Fest. RLS will be recording. We're going to be doing Tuesday nights. We're also going to be on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. in the Media Lounge.
Yeah, usual time
I
slot.
want to make a Facebook. Is there a Facebook event? Did you make one on the?
Did we? I don't think we made
we
Facebook
need to make
event
a
pages
Facebook
for
event.
these, but that'll definitely be a thing. Yeah.
We need to make a Facebook event page for the show because we are going to be live. Then please come watch us. Come say hi. Come hang out. Come smoke us up because we want the Rich Paul effect. Don't come to us talking about how the state has harmed you. Come smoke up with us. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of smoking up with us, I actually got the event that I'm doing on Wednesday, where we're I'm gonna do. It's called Puff Puff Doge, and that is an event page on Facebook. And there's gonna be 420 like everywhere, every day.
Well, of course, it's Pork
But
Fest.
I wanted a specific concentrated event where we're doing it, and I'm gonna be making it rain Dogecoins with the Doge Rain app. So that's gonna be pretty ridiculous. And I think.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna have like music playing. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Can I take some time to talk about the presentation that I'm giving at Old Expo?
Oh yeah, what are you presenting?
What are you presenting?
Basically, it's called A Darker Shade of Liberty, and I've been doing it for about 3 years now, and it examines the question: why are there so few people of color in the liberty movement? And I know, we're all individuals and race is a social construct, but you have to admit that the majority, if the majority of people in the libertarian community are Caucasian, then there's got to be something. There's got to be something about the way the message of liberty is being conveyed that's alienating people of color in some way. The problem is nobody wants to have this conversation. So we can't get to the solution if we can't have the conversation.
I want to disagree with you on this.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I understand what you're doing, I'm not knocking it, but from my perspective, like I am an individual. I don't view like ethnicity. All right, I'm a human being. My homeland is the planet Earth.
And I would say that Rob's response right there is the traditional libertarian response that you'll get, and that's the reason nobody's talking about this.
That doesn't change the ethnic makeup of the liberty movement
and the problem originally. Yeah,
right.
We'll come back with that definitely.
More humanism will come back.
Free Talk
Live. That is really how I view it, though. I don't view
right.
I view that's one reason that to me that's kind of my big take on it. It's like I don't talk about it because it's not on my. I don't know. I see what you're saying because you're definitely right on that. That there's definitely a higher proportion of people that are white than anything else. But to me, that doesn't even matter to me. That I'm all about. I'm just a human being,
right? But we have to at least see what's in. Why is this happening? Why is this the outcome?
Why is it the outcome?
Yeah.
I think it's more so because probably I don't have a good answer for you.
I mean, I think
it's more
yeah.
What people are exposed to, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I have my own theories. Multiple observations that I've made. Probably the first is that a lot of messages about like issues of freedom, gun rights, drug use, my body, my choice. A lot of these arguments historically have not been framed in a context that resonates with people of color.
Yeah.
And this is something that's changed only recently. The other reason is that left-wing statists have been doing hardcore outreach for the last 4 decades.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor. That's a huge factor. And the fact that the Liberty Movement has done nothing to counter that for all these years.
Hey, I'm doing my part to reach out.
Oh, with the rebel mystery.
I kid. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I would like to see more people do some sort of. I don't know how you can really do outreach like that, though. I don't.
Okay, but if we can at least have the conversation, we can get to the solution.
All right, I'll give
Yeah.
you that.
And I mean, I asked some of the people in the audience. First of all, 97. I would say about you're about 50 people. Almost all of them were white guys. And
I see. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't identify as white.
and Persian is white.
Is Persian white?
Yes, North African, Persian. That's
Well, North Africa is not Persian. Persians are from modern day Iran.
right, but like that whole Middle Eastern thing is painted as white. So Osama bin Laden is a white dude, and like
Just with a big beard.
yeah, well
Yes.
that I think like historically the Middle Eastern people have been thrust into this white category to prove that Jesus Christ was white.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt
It's
you,
okay.
but Renee Cake just called me, and she knows goddamn well that we were on live at this time slot, and she's calling me on my phone right now, which doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm showing Shire Dude, like she knows I'm on the radio.
We were talking a second ago about what race we identify as. I actually identify as whatever race Rachel Dolezal is currently identifying as. So I'm just following her trend setting at this
She
point.
is a hero. Well, I'll give her credit. She's living. I thought that was it.
She's doing her
She's
for
living
one
her,
thing.
She's living her life.
She's doing her. But she's also lied about a lot of other things.
She
All right, we are back live on LRN.FM. We're also live on IPM Nation. Go check them out as well. You can also always go find us at rebelloveshow.com, where we do stream. If you're listening to this podcast, we do stream this live on rebelloveshow.com. Just go click on live every Tuesday night at 10. You can view our beautiful faces, see me vape, see Shire Dude make his funny faces, and all these. Right behind me, he zoomed in on me. I'm on the green screen behind myself.
Yeah.
He always does a bunch of crazy shots.
I'll put Cuevas there.
Put Cuevas back behind me. There we
we
go.
go.
Now he's watching. He stared at me, looking at the camera. Yeah, if you want to, especially with the breaks, a lot of times, sometimes I'll put the breaks on the podcast feed.
But yeah, you're
Sometimes
not
I
getting the
don't.
breaks on LRN.
Yeah, you don't
You're
get the
not
breaks on
hearing us.
LRN. So as much as I love LRN.FM, go to rebelloveshow.com and watch us live.
Instead of commercials, usually you get more show.
Well, you do hear the commercials because I kind of have them a little bit in the background because I don't have a show clock yet. So I wait for the audible cue, and then Ian's probably going to message me or someone's going to like, oh, there's the show clock. I know it's there. I just need to like print it out and put the time on there. I'm too much of a slacktivist. But at any rate, we're talking about.
We got into like the whole Rachel
identity
thing and the break. I don't know if you guys want to go into that at all.
yeah, she is like the affirmative action of racial passing because historically it's been light-skinned black people who passed for white so that they could avoid all the shit that people get for being black.
Right.
Well, for my thing is just like how I identify as I don't identify as a human being. I'm just living
Right.
life. But I describe myself as being poly all the time, and I do say I'm Persian, but it's
Yeah.
kind of a joke as it is. But at the end of the day, I identify as a human being. That's the only
Right.
thing I identify as. And again, the planet Earth is my homeland. I hate borders. I hate the fact that I need to pay someone that I've never met for a permission slip called a passport so I can go to another part of my homeland. I should be able to freely travel on this planet as I choose, as I see fit, and no one should be able to force me not to go across a imaginary line on a map drawn by people long since dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with her saying that she's black. You can say you're whatever race you want. Race is completely inconsequential. Also, she's said that her adopted brothers are her sons. Her adopted black brothers are her sons. Now that's, I mean, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's just a straight up lie. But yeah, sure, you can call relations what you want to call them. Like, you know, Rob, you're like a brother to me.
Absolutely, we're family.
If I want to call you a brother, sure, I get that. Now I get both of those things. But then the last thing is she's told all this crazy history about herself. If you read some of the articles, she said like, oh, I used to like hunt for food with like a spear or some shit, or like bows and arrows or something. And it just gets ridiculous. She's trying to give herself this entire history to go along with the race that she's choosing. And that's all lies. And that's a problem.
Now, did she refer to her sons as brothers or brothers?
Well, I mean, how is this any different from like transgender? If you're transracial, how is that any different than transgender?
Yeah, that problem I don't have a problem with.
Race is a social construct. Gonadal sex is a biological reality.
Well, I mean, there's things that like that you can obviously tell from an ethnical standpoint, like, you know, hair or skin color or whatnot. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're all human beings. You know, it's just
a choice.
It's just genetical traits. That's all it really is.
Right.
But I don't see like a huge difference between the two. To me, like if someone wants to call themselves a female or male that are not female or male, when they try to transform into that, who am I to tell someone that, you know, they want to be transgender? If they really want to identify as that ethnicity, who am I to tell them, go ahead, go live your life?
Yes, people. Yeah, I mean, they should definitely be able to identify with whatever demographic group they want to.
So, anyways, we got a few minutes left here and change the subject up a bit. Again, we've been talking about Pork Fest all day. Besides Alt Expo, what are you looking forward to? And Kratos, what drugs you gonna do there too? By the way.
Oh, I don't do drugs.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
Nancy Reagan told me a long time ago not to do drugs, and I obey my
took it to heart.
Masters.
You're quite the teetotaler.
Yeah. To be honest, I only watch Alt Expo talks.
Really?
Really?
I have never. This is going to be my 6th Pork Fest. I have never attended an FSP Incorporated, like a regular Pork Fest talk that had nothing to do with Alt Expo.
Wow. What about you, Shire Dude? What are you looking forward to?
If I attend any talks, it'll probably be Alt Expo talks.
Yeah.
Except for there is the one Lynn Ulbricht is going to be speaking, and that's on the official schedule. The Pork
I am
Fest
definitely
schedule.
looking forward to seeing her talk about what happened with her son and Silk Road and whatnot. It's sad that the state he's facing life in prison now.
Yeah, but
for running a website.
Part of the topic is, and what comes next. So I'm hoping that she's going to roll out this, plan or something. There's got to be something that we can do at this point. Some appeal process or something.
Yeah.
Or just shovels, spoons. We'll dig them out somehow.
Break him out. Break him out of his kidnapping. Yeah.
A lot of cakes coming in with mail files in them. And yeah.
I mean, for me, for Pork Fest, I haven't even looked at the schedule. All I know is that, Rebel Love Show is recording Tuesday at 10 and Friday at 3. And then the whole Puff Puff Doge that Shire Dude here is doing was Wednesday.
And the Poly Party.
And the Poly Party. Definitely got to go to the Poly Party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to, I want to try to make all the Poly talks that are there because there's multiple ones. But the Poly event's going to be the Rebel Love Show, of course. And that Poly Party. Those are the 3 things that you should go to for Poly. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking forward to just walking around Pork Fest, talking to people, hanging out with people. Because to me, Pork Fest is always like a family reunion of the internet. You know, like everyone from the internet you're friends with that don't already live here, that haven't moved yet. Like all of them show up. So it's kind of like this family reunion of people that you may meet for the first time. Like there's 2 friends of mine that I haven't met that I've been talking to for 3 years. And they're both going to Pork Fest for the first time, and I'm excited to hang out with these guys because I've never hung out with them before, But I've been talking to them for years. So to me, like just that moment, just hanging out and having fun for a whole week in the White Mountains. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's going to be phenomenal. A phenomenal event. There's
then, of course, the big gay dance party.
Yeah, I got a schedule full of stuff that I'm probably not even gonna get to.
Oh, I know. See, I'm not even planning anything. I'm just gonna wing it, But except for the big gay dance party, I am definitely excited to go to that. Me and Ann are We're rocking it out.
I've heard there's some sort of surprise costume.
We're going as both going as the same thing. We're going to dress the same, but it's one thing I love about PorcFest is you can that's where you unwind. That's where you let go. You can do whatever you want for a whole week. Of course, not violating the nap. But that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to just having fun and being high most of the time, personally. I'm gonna be walking around smoking probably a joint almost the entire time.
A lofty goal indeed.
I'm gonna walk around immersions and try them to accept Cuevas coin.
But it's not going to be available there. Though I am excited about a lot of the vendors at PorcFest too. They better take Bitcoin, and of course, I know they're supposed to be there making bacon pancakes. I want to go there every day that they're there. I love that place. Did you get making bacon pancakes when you were last year? You're cooking, so I'm not trying to take business away from you. And I did order from you as well. I was moving around, but they were amazing. And suppose on the PorcFest group there's going to be a jerk chicken vendor.
Oh yeah.
I haven't had jerk chicken since I moved from Chicago. I haven't even seen any Jamaican places whatsoever in the Shire. And there used to be this great little joint, this jerk chicken joint I used to go to all the time. So I'm definitely excited to actually get a taste of Jamaican food. I haven't had it in years now. So I'm jonesing for a little Jamaican jerk chicken, PorcFest is coming up. I'll also, I plan to do a walkthrough of PorcFest. I'm going to make an event page, I say I'm going to make an event page for that. But I haven't.
You should have a set time for it. Was what I was.
I know. I got to look at the schedule because I don't want to like do it where like everyone's at a certain event or something like that. I'll figure it out.
If you do a set time for it, then people can show up and actually be in the walkthrough that you do.
I know, and I picked up a Bluetooth monopod just for this event.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a whole rig. I think I've talked about this on the show before, but I'm gonna have the whole like a shoulder strap, camcorder, and
it's very Luke Radowski.
Wide angle lens, the works.
So Cuevas coming up. Where can people find you at on the internet?
Facebook.
Facebook.com/QuevasCoin.
And Shire Dude.
ShireDude.com.
You can find the Rebel Love Show at RebelLoveShow.com. Go subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. Peace.
Here's a breaking medical legal alert. Attention, users of the diabetes drug Actos. If you or a loved one has taken Actos, then develop